What's up, guys? It's Chris. Today we are taking a look at my personal tier list for the current patch, and I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on it down in the comments below, so let's get right into it. Okay, we're gonna get started with the tier list. Yeah, as we usually do, I'm just gonna do them in order from when they were released, starting with Trapper, going to Skull Merchant. We'll have timestamps in the description of the video for all the YouTube homies, in case they want to click through and find their mains and stuff like that. And we will start off. So we got Trapper. Sorry, fella. You are going in the D tier. The guy, look, in meta, especially where toolboxes are being left as they are, more gen speed perks being added into the game. You know, Prove Thyself already being great with 3 people on a gen, just cooking that stuff out. You could potentially play a Trapper game with losing all the gens before you get into a single chase. That is something that could happen. It doesn't happen much, but it's possible. Yeah, just the setup time, everything. I mean, he's got some fun add-ons now that aren't too bad, but a lot of counterplay for Trapper, especially with the group talking to each other, like if they're on comms. 90% of the time, if they're trying even a little bit, there's no way you get 4. There's no way. Next up is going to be Wraith, and we're going to drop him in B tier because, I mean, Wraith, as simple as he has great stealth. Some of the best add-ons in the game just off of simplicity. Like, they're very straightforward and simple and just give him a lot of strength as a killer. And they can mesh really, really well with a lot of the meta perks. Like, his hit and run playstyle with Jolt Pain Res is fantastic. Gen kicking stuff with Shadow Dance add-ons is awesome. You know, he's got Windstorm. He's got some really great add-ons too. And not a hard killer to pick up at all. So Wraith is pretty solid. And then we got Billiam. So Billy is sad. Like, you can definitely get maps and stuff that are good for him and have a good time. Fun builds. I mean, Billy's one of the most fun killers there are if you're having a good game with him. I wouldn't say there's a killer I'd rather play on a perfect game than Hillbilly. The problem is he's really map dependent. If you're really going for chainsaw downs, a good survivor can make that very, very, very difficult, especially with the state of his add-ons right now. And he's got some good ones, but it's just with the unlimited amount of pallets being chained together in a lot of these new maps, he just needs something a little more. You could say, you know, Mother's Helpers help you charge the chainsaw faster. Yeah, but you could eat that with the Durin. And then there's going to be 5 more pallets right around the corner. And then your chainsaw overheats by the time you destroy them all. Not cool. And we need some love for Hillbilly, I think. I think he's awesome. And the Hillbilly players, most of them, saw one total psycho the other day. But most Hillbilly players are like some of the coolest players in the entire community. So I want to see Hillbilly get some love. All right. And then we got Nurse. She is still gonna be S tier for sure. This killer is just legal cheats. It is. Sure, she doesn't get Starstruck Devour anymore, which is awesome. She totally did not deserve to have those. I still have no idea how she was allowed to and Blight couldn't. Like, she can just ignore everything on them. It's cheating. Playing this killer is cheating. But she's pretty fun. Yeah, this killer is best of the best, will be for a while, I'm guessing. So she did get toned down with the add-ons too, but still got some nice ones, and you can't go wrong. If you want to play a strong killer, Nurse is going to be that forever probably. Next we have Myers, and I'm actually I might put him above Billy. Now we're also going to be talking about add-ons too here. The way just in case anybody's new to our tier list, the way we usually break these down, and I'll put it in the intro too, is add-on strength, how they perform against, you know, Swifts, strong Swifts, and map dependency. That's generally how we go. And, I mean, Myers really isn't super map dependent. He's not. He'll suffer on maps that a lot of M1 killers do, like Cowshed or Meat Plant, but there's not too many that are just terrible for him like Hillbilly. Tombstone and his infinite add-on, just absolutely disgusting add-ons, you know what I mean? If you put that shit on Skull Merchant, people would actually be rioting outside of the behavior headquarters right now, I'm assuming. No, but seriously, really solid stuff. And his ability to camp is fantastic. Some really, really fun teachables, too. Not that we're ranking on that. I just want to throw that out there. So, yeah, Myers is a solid C tier. Next is Hag. And Hag's tough. She's in a spot where, her base kit is so strong. You really don't need a bunch of slowdown. You don't need a bunch of info on her. You just need to be allowed to use your power. So, for now, let's put her on top of B. So, boons violate this killer. It's not even funny. The boons are just silly in general, but against Hag, what you want to do with Hag most of the time is you set up a zone where you set up all your traps, like a little web of them. And that's where you want to be controlling the game the entire time. Unfortunately, with Circle of Healing being infinite heals, once it gets down to those last 2 gens survivors have to complete, you can't be leaving the area too much because you have to defend those gens. So somebody trips your trap, you hit them, they run across the map, get healed on the boon, come back, somebody else does the same thing, goes and heals. And at some point, it's just like an hour-long game with people who really want to win, no matter the cost, bringing that Circle of Healing. And it could just feel really bad. Also, flashlights, not super fun to play against. Even without boons, without flashlights, a good squad can destroy all your traps without taking hits and stuff like that. And it can be really, really annoying to play. But even though I just dumped a lot of negative stuff onto her, in a game where you're allowed to use your power, I mean, you could just end the game in a minute, maybe less. I mean, the killer has disgusting potential to win a game, but there is just so much in the game now that fucks her over that, yeah, unfortunately, we might come back to her. I might move her bottom of 8 here, but for now, this is where I got her. So next up is Doctor, and I'm going to put him in B tier. He's got pretty solid anti-loop. He has great info. If you want to spend 2 hours to read each of his add-ons, then you'll notice that they're actually pretty great. He's got a ton of playstyles, especially with Terror Radius-based builds and stuff like that. And overall, there's not too much you can do to outplay the Doctor, besides just dumping pallets every time you come in contact with one and not letting him, use his power, which is, you can only do that for so long against any killer. So, I mean, with that much built-in info, he's got that chase power. He's solid, but there's nothing unstoppable about him. You know what I mean? Just a lot of builds you can run that will work pretty well. And suffers the same fate of an M1. Pre-drop pallets, hold W. All right, next up is Huntress, and she is going to be dropped in A tier. If you guys have seen people like Coconut playing Huntress, I mean, I haven't even seen the dude run a slowdown perk whenever I've seen him, like a clip or a video of him pop up. I haven't even seen him run a slowdown perk on the killer and just dominate. Yeah, she's got a pretty solid skill ceiling to really get good with her. But once you do, I mean, the stuff you can do with this killer is disgusting. Just chewing through hell states like they're nothing. You know what I mean? She's got really great add-ons too. Infantry Belt, Iridescent Head, Rose Root, Babushka, Oak Haft. I mean, she's got tons and tons of really, really simple add-ons that are just pretty game-changing. So, yeah, Huntress, I think, is an easy A tier. Not too map-dependent either. I mean, there's a couple like Larry's that can be not so fun to play on, but it doesn't mean she's bad on them. Next up, we got Bubba. Bubba's going to be B tier, especially in a time where I'm personally noticing, I don't know how true this is for everybody, I'm personally noticing tons and tons of people pre-dropping every pellet they come in contact with, like they have some kind of monkey brain thing. It's like, dude, it's like Unga Bunga caveman shit. I don't know what it is. It's C pellet, drop pellet with so many of these survivors. And Bubba is going to fucking eat them. If you find somebody like that early on in the game and you're playing Bubba, by the time they get a gen done, there's going to be no pallets left on the fucking map. Throw him bamboozle, a little bit of slowdown with him. Obviously, he's the best face camper in the game. I'm sure everybody understands that by now. which is not a bad thing to have. Being the best face camper, being the best at anything in DBD as a killer is not a bad thing. So, yeah, I think top of B tier's fair. There's a solid amount of counterplay, lockers, and stuff like that, but for the most part, he's just really solid. And then we got Trickster, who, sadly, he's like a jack of all trades, but he sucks at all of it. He has a little bit of undetectable in the Nightmare. It's trash. His mobility, teleporting to gens, is pretty mid because it has such a long cooldown. I mean, Onryo's teleporting is just miles above. And his chase power is mediocre at best. The pallets suck. If anybody's paying attention outside of the dream world and just knows where the real pallets are, they won't die to the fake pallets ever. And his slow is way weirder to use than Clown's. Clown, you just fucking chuck bottles. Yo, don't come at me with that 160-page Clown guide. That shit is bullshit, by the way. Just saying. But yeah, Freddy's probably an easy D tier for me. And then we got Piggy. I'm actually going to put her above Trapper because she has a pretty crazy amount of slowdown if you can get the traps on. When we're talking about D tier here, it's against... I'm talking about Swifts, all right? A solid squad is not going to let you get an easy first down. It's not going to happen. She's not going to get a trap on until there's 1 or 2 gens left, and then she realistically has no power. Her ambush sucks. Her stealth is the worst, like, base kit stealth in the game. There's no other killer who goes stealth and moves so fucking slow, like slower than survivors. It does, I don't know. For that reason, it's pretty much an easy D tier. I think she is the only killer in the game that has absolutely no power until you get a down, which is kind of sad. It is kind of sad. We got Clown. Clown is going in B tier as well, and I'm actually going to put him above Doctor for a couple reasons. His pinky finger add-on is absolutely disgusting. We just made a video about this. The pinky finger. It is a disgusting add-on. And his chase power can work very similarly to Doctor's with just, you know, denying pallets completely if they give you any sort of pallet control. And with a lot less thought. You know, you chuck pink bottle, boom, boom, they die. You know, people want to bring up 160-page Clown guide again. By the way, I'm just saying it's bullshit. There's not 160 pages of Clown text. Zancian Tactics is not a thing unless you're new to the game. I said it. I said it, and I'm not taking it back. We're going to put Spirit at S tier. Also, Spirit has just crackhead add-ons that are super, super strong from yellow to eerie and very, very simple to use. There's nothing you really have to think about when you're using your add-ons like some other killers you would have to. They just go, you're getting constant value out of all of them without even having to think about it. She is, you know, getting value out of any M1 perks because she's an M1 killer, but just the fastest M1 killer in the game. Yeah, she's really, really solid. You know, turn up your headphones a little bit. Just, you can compete with any team for sure, especially with some of her stronger builds. Then we got Legion, who I'm also going to put in B tier. About here, I think is fair. Legion can get people injured easier than anybody else in the entire game, which is not a weak thing. I've said this before in some tier lists. Thanatophobia is fantastic on them. Having people injured at all times means anytime you're finding somebody, it's one hit to down them, which is a lot more than you could say for, you know, the killers down here. And since they're going to be injured, you can count it as an insta down. That's definitely easier to do than Billy's chainsaw. And he's got some really great builds, like fantastic add-ons now. Like the mural sketch with the never sleep pills is just insane, pretty ridiculous. So also, I do want to mention Legion has some of the best cosmetics in the entire game. They're awesome. They make awesome Legion skins. I don't fucking know why, but they're all sick. Then we got Plague. Plague is easy A tier. Thing is, you know, people always want to say just don't cleanse forehead, right, against Plague. But she has potential to bring double apples, which means she starts with 3 red fountains right at the start of the fucking game. So if you're not cleansing, everybody's getting violated. You know, that game could end in 60 seconds. She runs Infectious and Monitor. That game could end in 60 seconds flat. One use of her power. She has ridiculous add-ons. Her Eries, like the Black Incense, are insane. Great add-ons across the board, really. Really, really fun ones, too. And even without her red puke, if you catch a survivor out in the open, not near pellets or windows, you're instant outing. Like, you can injure them with just getting them sick in, like, 2 seconds if you're hitting your puke. And then just hit them, and they don't get a speed boost from getting it. It's crazy. This killer is fantastic. You can get a lot of info from it, too. Puking on gens, knowing when people hop on them and stuff like that. Really, really, really great killer. I actually talked myself into it. I'm putting her above Huntress, okay? I love Huntress. I think she's really solid. Plague's got so much going for her. She really does. That's where she's going to sit. Okay, then we got Ghostface. Ghostface has the best stealth in the game. You could do a lot of mind games. And when you find a survivor that's teabagging you after pre-dropping a pallet without thinking at all, when you down them, you can teabag them right back. So for that reason, we're going to actually put him at the... No, I'm just kidding. No, Ghostface has some pretty great add-ons. Like Driver's License is sick. Philly being just a brown add-on and stalking 20% faster is cracked. You can get people 99. They have no idea that they're even stocked up. You know, they go for a crazy hook save. You just insta-down them and boom, you're winning the game right away. Can use tons of perks really well. And, you know, having the best stealth in the game, base kit is always going to be a good thing. So I think that's a pretty easy B tier. We do have one more for B tier right now, and that's Demo. And I'm actually going to put Demo, I think, you know, pretty similar to last time. I think he's pretty much the king of B tier. He does great with the gen kicking stuff. He has a great build with Devour and Hex builds and stuff like that, being able to defend him with his portals. He gets a lot of info base kit from his portals. Great mobility. A really solid chase power to shred pallets and, you know, kill survivors. The best user, say the best for last in the game. And I just listed off all that stuff, and still he's not busted. There's a solid amount of counterplay, you know, juking and stuff going on. Really, really easy to use dead hard against the shred and faking windows or stuff like that. The killer's really, really solid without being too oppressive. And, you know, if you understand how to use his portals pretty well, I mean, you can dominate an area and make it take... Games take forever. You know, you either have constant info of them, or they're taking 20 minutes to just cleanse your portals the whole time and try and deny you that. So he's got a lot going for him. And still, I've never heard anybody complain about playing against Demo. Not one time, except when we use the Devour build. That's different, though. Yeah, really, really solid. Next up, we got Oni. I'm going to put him right here. Here's the thing with Oni. His M2 is fucking gross. Like, when you can pop your power for that first time, again, like I've said with these other killers up here, you can end a game in 60 seconds flat. You really can. The problem is getting there. You know, you run into a tough map. Say you're on the meat plant, you know, something like Templar Purgation with just tons of strong pallets chained together. If you're, you know, getting a little carried away and commit to the wrong person for too long, it's going to take you a long time to get your power going. Now, that's still fine, because once you do get your power, you can just end the game, which is why he's an A tier. But still, there are games where it's going to be really, really hard to get your power right away built up. And, you know, you can still get into a sticky spot where it's hard to use your power on some maps, like Larry's, for example. That's another one. Great mobility in the power, extremely lethal, and can use all the meta perks right now super well. You know, Call of Brian, the gen kicking stuff, because he is so mobile with his power. Pain Res, Gift of Pain, Pentimento Plaything is disgusting. There's so much going for him. Like, you really can't go wrong with a build. Monitor Infectious. You know what I mean? The list goes on. It's all just about getting that power right away. Great add-ons, too. Want to throw that out there. And obviously, you cannot take hits against Oni, whether he's in his power or not. You can't take hits. So you're either giving him his power for free, or you're just going down, right? Absolutely nasty killer. First killer I ever made, and I still love him. He's awesome. And I think that's a pretty easy choice. Next up, we got Slinger Man. And again, we got B tier right here. Deathslinger is ridiculously overrated. I almost want to put him A tier, but I know people are going to get mad at me because he is 110. And I get that, you know, not having map pressure. The thing is, with Jolt Pain Res being in the game, taking care of gens for you just for doing your thing, you know, downing people and getting them to hooks, which Deathslinger is fantastic at, especially with the build we run, Dissolution, Save the Best for Last. You're going to be putting so much slowdown on the team without touching a single gen, or you don't even have to be like next to them. Like they just blow up the whole time you're downing people. Gets people injured almost as easily as Legion, and you can play around windows. You know, if survivors are going to vault a window, it's a hit. You can force them to not even be able to play pals with Dissolution. The killer's got lots of great builds right now, and you know, he's got some okay add-ons. The Eerie Coin is disgusting if survivors don't realize you have it. Well, other than that, pretty just solid add-ons. Dude, you can really destroy with Deathslinger. Pyramidhead is also going to be an easy A tier. I wouldn't even say this is because of his M2, because there's killers with a lot stronger M2. His is pretty clunky. It's not bad. You know, you can use wall hacks and get some crazy hits. And, you know, in a perfect situation, you could hit 4 survivors at the same time. It's never going to fucking happen, but you could. The potential's there. The real strength is from his cages and when people are stepping in your trails, because you can tunnel somebody out of the game in 60 seconds. I've done it before, just to prove a point on one of my very, very early montages, like when I first started making videos. I timed it. It was 60 seconds from when I found the person and downed them until they were dead. Like hook, cage, Mori, dead. It's ridiculous. Being able to down or completely kill somebody out of the game before a gen is completed is a disgusting ability. And it's very toxic. I wouldn't suggest that, but it is possible. And for that reason, he's got to be an easy A tier. Next up in S tier, we got Blight. I don't think it's any secret that Blight is, you know, leading the pack. There's a debate right now if Nurse or Blight is stronger. I still can't put, like, Blight's add-ons are the most disgusting add-ons in the entire game. But he doesn't ignore matter completely. Like, the Nurse just, nothing exists to her. And for that reason, you know, there's still going to be tough maps for Blight. Larry's is not going to be an easy one. If you're on the meat plant without his disgusting Eerie Compound 33, it's still going to be hard. The meat plant is not an easy map. So, you know, that stuff aside, the killer can dominate. There's a lot of little techs, you know, people do that just really make him destroy people. They can't really do anything. A lot of little mind games. And I think he's super fucking cool. And I think he deserves to be S tier. I know some people disagree, but I think the amount of time it takes to really get this killer down and learn his little tricks and stuff like that, you should be rewarded. You should, for putting that time in. I think he's fucking awesome. Love Blight. Easy S tier. All right, now we're at Twins. And I feel pretty comfortable dropping him in C tier right now. They are super clunky. If survivors are using boons, exponential, circle of healing, you know, anything like that, unbreakable, we're going to live forever, even stuff like that to stop slugging, a lot of your power is gone. If survivors are doubling up together and sticking together, you know, somebody gets down by Victor, the other person kicks it and starts picking that down person up right away, you have no power. And it's going to take you so long to get your downs and hooks. If you're throwing Victor onto people to injure them, survivors can hold them hostage for a long time. There's just so much counterplay to this killer that it's really, really hard to put her any higher than C tier for me personally. She doesn't have a lot of great add-ons or anything like that that really change the game. They can camp really well. They can slug really well. Survivors hate both of those things. And there's a lot they can do to stop that from being super effective. They really can. Like, here's the thing. In a perfect game, dude, Twins can absolutely dominate, which is why this is so rough. Like, they can fucking dominate, bro. But there is so much you can do against Twins to make it really, really hard on him. Yeah, medkit and boom. Dude, that's the thing, too. I'm seeing more people bring exponential recently, too, which, you know, if you're slugging somebody with Victor and an exponential, by the time you can even get fucking switched back to Charlotte, that person's up by themselves. I'm not kidding. Also, we have Trickster. This is the killer I hate playing against the most in the entire game. It's not because I think he's the most insane, oppressive killer there is out there. Just looping him is so boring, bro. Like, he's just got a fucking Uzi where eventually you're gonna go down just because he accidentally looked where you were on his screen at a time you were there. Like, no matter how new you are at the game as the Trickster, and no matter how experienced the survivor you're going against is, you can just down them if they get caught in a bad spot just by looking at them. You don't have to have any idea what you're doing. You have an Uzi. You know what I mean? But with that complaint out of the way, I'm going to put him in C tier. There's so many games where, you know, with all the big maps, indoor stuff even, survivors can just split up on the gens and get them done so quickly. And being 110, and it does take a little bit of time to down people, even though it's super easy to do. It does take time. It's not like Huntress where, you know, one hatchet is a hell state. No, he's got to hit 6 and then they get the speed boost. Then he's got to do it again. Is it boring to play against? Yeah, but I really don't think he's a very powerful killer. I think he's simple, he's easy, but not over the top. I just hate looping him. Next, we have Nemi, who is fantastic for shredding pallets. And here, we're going to switch this around too. I'm going to put Hag up here, and I want Nemi about here. I've been seeing the zombies doing a lot better recently. He could shred pallets just as good as, you know, Bubba or Demo even. Like, they're just going to go. The problem is, you know, the 3 hell states. And he doesn't have great add-ons at all. Especially with people still running Dead Hard, being really, really easy to kind of know when to use it against Nemesis is also a thing. You know, just beelining it to a pallet, pressing E, and then you can duck behind a corner if he does an M2. So you can basically have 4 hell states against this killer sometimes. If you get cornered against him, though, and, you know, there's a lot of survivors who don't understand, just fucking run past, like, get out of the fucking corner. You know, you're going to just, like... You're going to trap somebody. They're going to die really fast. Especially, you know, getting decent zombie value, body blocking them in like a hallway on RPD. I've seen it happening, man. It can be pretty crazy, the stuff he can do. He could use a little bit of add-on love, but they're not terrible. They do have things that definitely work out for you as the Demi. I don't know why he even has a stealth add-on when his fucking footsteps sound like a train coming, but either way, the killer's really solid. If you're hitting your M2s, I mean, you can really destroy people. A lot of great builds for him too. Nemi solid. Next, we got Pinhead, and I think it's an easy A tier for me. Easy A tier. I'll probably put him here. Engineer's Fang is a ridiculous add-on. And that's not why he's A tier, but I just want to throw that out there before I get into it. The box is an unreasonable amount of free slowdown for any killer. Now, I'm not saying they should nerf it. I like it how it is. But forcing one... Now, somebody was saying, you know, you could take one person out of the game with twins by downing them, and then they pick themselves up, right? Pinhead can do that every, like, 30 fucking seconds with the box, so somebody's got to go deal with it. And if he's finding it, bro, good fucking luck ever winning that game. If you get the box 2 times on Pinhead, the game is pretty much over. They're not going to get anything done. You know, pair DMS with that, pain res, you know. The fact that you could stack so many slowdowns on this killer with the box by itself is insane. And that, I haven't even mentioned his M2 in Chase. It's... works very similar to Clown or Doctors. Way more fun to use. But it can break on a lot of walls and stuff like that and become useless. He has a purple add-on that makes that not fucking matter because it just spawns 80 fucking chains on the person that breaks them. And you're not running away from that. But Very, very good. Overall, he's got so many things going for him. Great add-ons too. Yeah, I think it's an easy A tier here. Up, we got our girl, the artist with the long neck. I am gonna be putting her right up there in the S tier, third place for me. I think this is pretty easy. I think artist is perfect, man. She can dominate just any loop. She has crazy map pressure, crazy info, and she doesn't have stupid fucking add-ons. Like, she has one add-on that's really game-changing, and that's Severed Hands, and you can get some crazy plays with Severed Hands, but it's a lot more niche, and there's a lot more requirements for Severed Hands to work out really well. People have to be grouped up together to get the multiple crows on them, and then you have to hit multiple crows to get those double injures, right? Something like Spirit, you know, you put on Mother-Daughter Ring, you move at the speed of fucking light. What the fuck does a survivor do? Nothing, right? I think Artist is like a perfect killer, and not just because she's pretty. I love Artist. She's S tier for all the right reasons, and I hope we get more killers like her. Next, we got Onryo, and we're going to put her in C tier, around here. The Condemned playstyle is good, but she doesn't have a really great chase power going for her. People can still yam through the gens if you're really committing all the time to use all of your mobility to chase down one person and get them condemned. So they're still going to get the gens done if the team actually knows what the hell is going on. Especially with Eruption being gone, one of her better perks to run on her, Colubrine Eruption, was an absolutely disgusting combo on anybody. Having it on this killer helped her a lot to get downs because she needs the time. Old Newspaper does give her a little bit more of a chase power, you know, mind gaming pallets, kind of. Still, it's tough to put her any higher than this just because, you know, she doesn't have anything that really gives her, like, you know, even Wraith's Uncloak, he gets that massive speed boost to give him easier hits. No add-ons that really help her in chase either. Just, she's okay. She's got great mobility. She does have the potential to knock people out of the game very early on if they mess up. But against the majority of survivors that understand what they're doing, that's going to be a lot harder to do without the gens just flying. So that's where she's going. Dredge, for me, is going right up there in the A tier. There he is. I think this looks better. Dredge is actually one of the nastiest sluggers in the entire game. It shows, I think that's kind of the way the devs intended it to be. You get everybody injured while it's daytime, you know, start building up that nightfall because you do get nightfall stacks for hitting people and while they're injured. And then as soon as nightfall hits, you're just a fucking monster. You know what I mean? You have disgusting mobility. His chase power is okay, but it just has such a short fucking cooldown that you cannot mess up a chase. Like, they're going to die in Nightfall. They will. He gets tons of info in Nightfall, too. Just zooming from corner to corner on the map. You can get Killer Instinct on everybody, know exactly where everyone's at in seconds. The Killer is awesome. He's got dope skins, and you can be a fucking horse while you're just flying around. Dude, Dredge is awesome. Dredge is cool. We got Wesker time. That is going to be also an easy A tier. You know what? I'm almost thinking right here looks right. I think right here looks real good for Wesker because, okay, here he's got okay mobility. It's fine. You can use his power for mobility. The real thing is just the amount of slowdown you get from infecting people because they have to be running around. You know, every survivor now is just spamming heals. They're spamming them. Mad Kits, Circle of Healing, whatever to bail them out. On top of that, they have to be getting cleansed with the spray. And he can apply Mend base kit by slamming survivors into each other. That doesn't happen often, but it is potentially, you know, a thing you can do. Awesome stuff you can do with his power and loops. Jungle gyms, TLs, everything. And there's opportunities to get outplayed, which is why he's not S tier. You know, for example, with these four, if people playing these four killers know what they're doing, there's nothing the survivor can do. They're going down. You can't do anything. With Wesker, there's a little bit of room for counterplay on windows, faking them and stuff like that. It's cool. And I think he's really fun to use. I think they did a great job designing Wesker. And hopefully we get more fun killers like that. Dude, it's so tricky because using the best night build that we made that video on very recently, he feels so dominant, but it's just so easy and it's so hands-off. Like, the guard's just, like, chasing people for you that it almost feels weird to do this. I almost want to put him in A tier, and it's really weird. He's got great builds going for him. You just get so much slowdown off his guards, potentially. Dude, the assassins get way more hits than they don't in my games when I'm playing him. It feels like a real... It's almost like Artist without having to think at all in some loops. Like, you just place down the guard. If it starts chasing them, you just cut the survivor off from where they want to go. They have to either run into the guard. Now, here's the thing. I actually might put him into B tier here because there is one really, really big flaw with the Knight and Chase, and that's how easy it is to use Dead Hard against him. You have to borderline not have hands to be able to not Dead Hard his guards, right? If you're an E presser, which there's a ton of Dead Hard users out there, you know, you're gonna get hit by a guard. You just take the E and run across the fucking map. He has to do the same thing all over again, try to get you cornered. For that reason, I think I will actually drop him in B tier, somewhere around here. The killer is very solid, not difficult at all to really get down, and he's got tons of strength with the meta perks right now. DMS, pain res, fantastic on this killer. Gen kicking stuff is good. I think this is fair. You know what we're gonna do? I'm actually gonna move Demo to A tier here. I think Demo deserves it. Bro, with all the shit I listed off, yes, he doesn't have crackhead add-ons. He doesn't, like most of these killers. I mean, Pyramidhead doesn't either. He has insane mobility. He has an awesome chase power to just shred pallets and get hits on windows like a cool lunge, whatever the fuck you want. It's not a long charge up either. I'm going to put Demo in A. Bottom of A tier. I think Skull Merchant has some fucking awesome add-ons. I've been running a really chase-heavy build on Skull Merchant, which has just destroyed survivors. And I don't see a clear way that they should be playing around the drones, because it's almost putting them in a lose-lose. They leave the drones up, they're exposed, and you know exactly where they're at. And you can just get a really easy down that way. They keep dealing with the drones. You get free slowdown, and you can track them the entire way. Especially with that brown add-on that makes pallets break that they vault. Pretty nasty. You know, not every Skull Merchant's going to run that every game, but it really is amazing. She has tons of info. Like I said, from those drones, she gets built in slowdown because people have to be dealing with them most of the time. I think there's so many playstyles with her that work that I almost want to put her bottom of A. And I know it sounds weird. There's so much, because like I haven't even scratched the surface of setting up a zone and being undetectable for an entire game with her drones, which I think is a real possibility that could be really, really good for her. I haven't ran a build at all on this killer that felt bad. We've played tons of Skull Merchant games. What did we lost one? Did we lose one? I think I'm going to put her... I'm going to put her right here. Right above Knight, under Hag. She has an insane amount of info built in her kit, so you don't need any info. You know, you do need that kind of thing on Knight and Nemi. I mean, really, to really pull their powers off and make them super effective, you need the info. She doesn't need any info perks. She can see everything that's happening the whole game. The potential for exposed, forcing people out of loops whenever you want to if they're healthy. And then playing hit and run, playing around really heavy chase perks like Bamboozle, her really good add-ons. I think this is where she's got to be for me right now. She might be even better than this if I get her down a little more and try stuff out with the undetectable. I think right now she's top of B tier. Nowhere near the worst killer in the game, like a lot of people have been saying. But I also don't think she can really match up to, you know, Wesker, Dredge, Pinhead, Pyramidhead. Maybe there's something I'm missing out on, though. But I want to hear what the homies in the YouTube comments think. If I got anything wrong, if there's stuff they agreed with. And what about you guys, you homies in the stream? What do you guys think about this? Yeah, for the YouTube homies, we're going to say goodbye for now. Appreciate all you. And we will catch you in the next one. Well, guys, want to say goodbye? Want to say goodbye?